I'll now recognize Secretary Hosemann for your testimony for 5 minutes, and welcome.
Thank you, Congress Harper. Good to see you. You're missed at home. Apparently, the adage of the state of New Hampshire, "Don't tread on me," still applies to Bill. In light of the budget issues and the international conflicts and national debt ceilings that we've got here, that y'all are all facing and the country is facing, election issues seem to be less important. However, as everyone who charts this country's path comes through the electoral process, we believe it's very important what you're doing today. I've given you my comments in writing, and I'll just summarize those quickly. Obviously, under HAVA, we've had an explosion of scrutiny of increased types of voting systems. But the key to HAVA, of course, was to give federal funding to elections, to develop standards in election administration, and the systematic collection of data. That's what we were about when you started this. In this environment, the EAC was created. This was the genesis, and Congress, in its wisdom in 2002, gave it only a 3-year life. It was not appointed perpetually. My colleagues at NAS, as Congressman Rokita has already pointed out, have voted time and again to abolish the EAC. Those votes were, as he mentioned, bipartisan, and in fact 22-3 with 3 abstentions the last time it came up. Frankly, Mr. Chairman, this is a time which has come, and a time now that is overdue. As a threshold matter, I want to explain to the committee that we could not have implemented the federal standards without the assistance of some $35 million to the state of Mississippi. Those were the HAVA grants, and we hope that we have used them well, and we believe we have used them in accordance with HAVA's mandates. However, EAC's role, as I agree with the majority of my NAS colleagues, EAC has become redundant as we move forward in the enforcement of HAVA. Many of their functions, or all of their functions, can now be utilized by other organizations, and I've read the statutory language that you have drafted. There's nothing in the administrative functions of the EAC which cannot be performed by another entity. The funding, the standards, the data collection are all things that can be done from others. As my colleagues here from Florida and New Hampshire are here with me today, we share this information that is gathered under HAVA, and it is very helpful in creating solutions to the electoral process. I'm not opposed to reporting for the reasons mentioned. EAC could be more efficient, and I've outlined those in my comments. The Secretary of State of Mississippi has no statutory authority to require counties to provide the requested data of the EAC, although we get the initial contacts for each of them. A lack of the information that is reported from the counties, it's very hard to prepare this 58-page document and get it back on time. Standardization of the reporting data is very important as a step going forward, although we don't believe that the EAC is the one to do that. We believe FVAP and DOJ, the Department of Justice, can both do this, as well as the FEC. I read with some interest the involvement of their involvement in military and overseas voting. Of 5 secretaries of state that went to Afghanistan and Iraq to promote votes for the presidential election, 3 of them are sitting here today. We got a really good information. We learned a great deal of respect for the members of our military and how their voting was going to be conducted. I know firsthand what secure internet-based access is. However, the EAC has come in with 2 grants to research technology for injured members of the military that create guidelines for the design of remote electronic voting systems. Those could be handled by FVAP or by the FEC. One area of standardization I mentioned in here regards the reporting requirements. They have changed over the years, and we have had reports, the ones where we follow the prior year's reports, we've had those rejected and had to refile them under the EAC guidelines. They have moved around. I want to say, Mr. Chairman, that from my experience, and in all due respect to Congressman Hoyer's statements before, this issue is not about the continuing enforcement of HAVA. We all support that. The secretaries of state have repeatedly supported that. We are the ones that train the election officials at the local level, as you well know. We educate election commissioners. We maintain the systems, and we assure disability access, and we educate the voters. All of the things that were required in HAVA when we started are done by the secretaries of state and the local reporting agencies. It's not about HAVA. here. It's about the fact that the EAC's responsibilities can be better utilized in other locations, and the government can function better. All of the issues that I have raised today, we raise on behalf of all of the Secretaries of State, although I do not mention I'm not speaking for NAS today. I do think it is critically important that we continue the three functions of HAVA that I have mentioned to you, the data collection, the standardization, and hopefully the funding. All of those, though, can be better served by another agency, and this one has become redundant and expensive. Thank you for allowing me to come today.
Thank you, Secretary Hosemann. Appreciate you being here and your friendship and your dedication to our great state of Mississippi.